Age of Fantasy Skirmish. You know, it doesn't have that good solid thwack that most rules do when you drop it on the table because it's just one page. It's by the guys at onepagerules.com. Today we're doing a 250 point battle. Not a lot of figures on the table. This is a pretty good introductory game. If you've never done the miniature war games, we're doing Dark Elves versus Ratmen at 250 points. And they're giving up 5 to the Ratmen. So maybe we go ahead and give Ratmen the option of first initiative since they're handicapped a little bit. Notice my Dark Elves. I've got a champion, 3 Dark Warriors, 1 Shade Scout, 3 Raptor Knights. Those are individual units. And then 1 unit of 3 Dark Warriors. So altogether, we've got 1, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 figures on the table for the Dark Elves. And for the Ratmen, we've got a Battle Master, 3 Warriors, 3 Giant Rats, 3 more Warriors, 3 Monks, and a Storm Ogre. So again, we're looking at 9, 12, 13, 14. So 11 v14, this is manageable. You can get these. You can paint them up, particularly if you're gaming fantasy in 15 millimeters. I've got a collection of figures, most of which come from splinteredlight.com. They've got a huge range, everything you could ever need. Of course, alternative armies. There's a bunch of fantasy over at Old Glory. They're all over the place, and they're cheap. You know, about $1 a fig. This is about a $50 game when all is said and done. So for the Dark Elves, notice that each of these Dark Riders is a separate unit. The Dark Elves are bringing the numbers, at least when it comes to the numbers of units. You can see that we have 2 big boys here. We've got a champion and we've got a Shade Scout. This gal here, rather, she's got the literal breastplate with the dual handling weapons. She is a scout. She has rending on that repeater handbow, and she has scout and stealth. What do those do? Maybe set aside before deployment. Oh, scout lets you deploy last, and you can make a free move up to 6 inches. Enemies are -1 to shoot at her, and she is quality 3, defense 5. She gets 1 attack or 2 attacks shooting with that hand bow. It's only got a range of 4.5 inches. I, of course, play at half scale. It has rending, which does, they keep updating the rules here. This is the version 3.3.1. And in this one, rending it ignores regeneration, and unmodified hit results of 6 get AP 4. Pretty tight. Our leader here he's a Master Sorcerer, Caster 3. And then notice, so there's no upgrades for our Raptor Knights. They just get the 1 attack with a Lance. Of course, the Lance itself has AP 2 when charging. And what else? They're Devour, they're fast. The Devour means that when they attack in melee on a 6-up, the opponent takes 1 wound. In other words, there's a 1 in 6 chance that this Cold One mount is going to bite you, and it just does a wound. It's got basically it gets an extra attack with a quality of 6. And then we have, notice, see the musician there? This unit of Dark Warriors is a spear unit. It's got a musician. This unit of Dark Warriors is a spear unit, has counter. It has a, one has a banner. Oh, it has a banner. See the big red flag? There you go. So there's our Dark Elves. Comes out at a nice round 250 points. For the Ratmen, let's take a closer look at these rats, shall we? They are led by a Battle Master. He is a fearless hero, and he is tough. Hero means units within 6 inches. Take the morale test using his quality of 4. He's got a defense of 4. He's backed up by a Storm Ogre. That's this big boy over here. Again, fearless, tough. He's also furious, and that's going to be important for these guys. When charging, unmodified rolls of 6 deal an extra hit. He's got a Drill Fist with an AP 4, Deadly 3. Yowzers, that's pretty good. Now, right behind them, you'll see a couple of giant rat swarms. They are fast and strider. They move an extra 2 inches and 4 inches when they advance. Of course, that'll just be 1 and 2 for my half-size table. 3 rending claws. They do have rending, and what we're looking at version 3.3.1. What does rending do in this one? Ignores, I think I already asked that. Ignores regeneration and unmodified results of 6. To hit, get AP 4. So when you make an attack roll and you hit, it's AP 4. Then we have a unit of, so I'm going to zoom in back here on these guys in yellow. They are monks, and that's hence the yellow weapons that you see there. And those monks have Furious, so again, looking for 6s on the hits, quality 5, defense 5, and the same is true for, we've got 2 units of, check it out, Spears and Spears. Now this guy right here with the little skull on his banner, see a little giant rat skull there, he is a banner man. And so just like the Dark Elves, that unit and up to 3 units within 6 inches, I don't think we're going to have that many, they will get, what does the banner do? They get +1 to their morale tests until the end of the round. So even if he goes down and dies, for the rest of the round, all of his allies get that +3. The other important thing is, and I want to call this out, these 2 units of warriors that we're seeing here in the back, they are spear units. They have counter. And that could be a real problem for those Cold One riders, because counter means even when they are charged, these guys strike first. And not only that, the charging unit gets -1 total impact rolls. But I don't think the Dark Warriors get impact, do they? Oh, they do. They have impact 1, which normally adds, if memory serves, they'll get to roll an extra attack after they charge. Oh man, these guys can be terrible. And for each 2+, the target takes 1 hit. So when they charge, they get an attack at 2 up to take a hit. And then they roll a die for the mount, which does a hit on a 6. And then they roll for their own quality of 4. So there's a pretty good chance you're going to take at least a couple of hits when those guys charge you. And of course, the lance that the Cold One riders are wielding. Oh wait, do they get impact 1? Yeah, they do. The lance gives them that AP2 when they charge. Oh man, so if they hit, our boys are only saving on true 6s for the most part, because most of these guys have defensive 6. So it's going to be kind of ugly. For terrain today, we have an elvish village that the Ratmen and the Dank Elves are fighting over. Based on the architecture, I'm guessing these are orange juice lids that I made myself. A little bit of beads, a little bit of cardboard. It's all it takes. Little dark idol. This was like a McDonald's toy at some point. I can't even remember what it comes from. These all block line of sight and movement. The woods and the grasslands over here are rough going, so you can't move more than the 6 inches, 3 in my case. And then the water there does not block line of sight. These don't block line of sight either. They do provide soft cover for what it's worth. As you can see, I've already rolled. We got 5 victory points. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is over here, and I've already done the deployment. The rats, as I said, since they have fewer points, they got to deploy first. And their boss man decided to drop right in the center. The Dank Elves followed suit. And then back and forth as one does. Couple of things here. The rats have these spear guys and wanted to sniff out where the Cold One riders were going to wind up. I think the rats might have gotten a little bit outplayed here. With a nice spread of these Cold Ones, the Dank Elves have a lot more flexibility. The one thing that the rats have going for them are these giant rats over here. They are fast. They ignore terrain. That's going to be a problem hunting them down. They'll be able to act as kind of a mobile reserve, and it's going to force the Dank Elves, whatever objectives they grab, they're going to have to squat on them. They can't just run off and try to grab another objective, because these giant rat swarms will be able to just slip around back. And I mean, at 16 inches, they can cover most of this table in 2 turns. As usual, we will play the 4 turns, and at the end of the 4 turns, whoever controls the most objectives will be the winner of the battle. The rats get to take the first activation. The other thing worthy of note, this little figure over here is one of the Dank Elves scout figures. He deployed last and was able to deploy within 12 inches of his base edge. Remember, 24-inch table. So he's already sitting on, and I'm going to put him right on number 5. That's where he goes. So for the Ratmen, the first thing they're going to do is bring up a unit of spear rats. And this unit here has I think this is a champion. Oh, it's a banner holder. So we're going to drop that right in the center. And because they have counter, they're going to be in good position to stop this guy. Except, we don't want to fight him on the first turn. We're going to force them to make 1 turn. We're going to back them off. And then we can bring our cult boys, our like rot priests over to lend a little bit of support, depending on what the Dank Elves decide to do on their activation. The Dank Elves will move their leader first. He is the only spellcaster on the table, and we're just going to bring him up 3 inches so that he stays within 3 inches of these banner fellas, this cold one and this cold one. He is, let's see, how does this work today? Our champion is a caster 3, so he gets 3 spell points according to the new operation of these spellcasting rules. We can give +1 to the defensive rolls for these 3 units. Now that spell, what is that called? Our champion is going to be casting, it's called Darkness. 4 friendly units get +1 to defense rolls. You need a 4-up, but we're going to spend both of our existing points to make that a 2-up. Wait, no, it costs 2, so we only have 1 left over. So on a 3-up, with a result of 1, he fails to get that spell off. And since this is the first turn, we'll go ahead and take care of some double moves. 6 inches for this unit of Rat Spearmen. They've got protected flanks. This unit of, let's think about this. We can bring these guys up as well. And there's our Bannerman. Where's 6 inches? This guy's going to move 6 inches up to here. And so I think, like I said, the Dank Elves are off to a very good start. Is our champion close enough? He's not. You can't see him, can you? We got a lot of guys hiding behind these buildings over here. And we're going to bring him up to protect this flank over here. We'll bring him 6 inches to there. And now we've got 1 more unit of Dank Elves. We probably should have brought these guys up something like this to really lock down number 2. But it's too late. I already moved them. Can't move other guys based on the movement of your opponents. So we shift over, and you can see there's 1 more unit over here. Maybe we go ahead. Maybe we go ahead and bring them this way. Give ourselves some options. We know that we're already going to be grabbing this objective, so we'll move these guys. And the rats, what we're really hoping to do for the part of the Dank Elves is get these rats to commit. We can bring these, we have to bring these plague monks, I think that's what they're called, up to here. We'll get them as close to the action as we can. And this way, it looks like the rats are going to be able to commandeer 1, 2 of the victory objectives, where the Dank Elves will bring this guy up to secure this one. And then finally, it's time. We got to decide what we're going to do. These rats are fast. And I think for the rat guys, I think the smart play is to go ahead and just refuse this left flank over here. The right flank as we're looking at it. And since these rats are fast, now most things can only move can move 6 inches, but we're going to bring them around here. And I think the thing to do is we'll bring them up here and then we'll bring them up just 2 more inches. And now that they're in the center of the board, now they were stuck out there because of the wonkiness of deployment. But now that they're here in the center of the board, we can just leave them back there until turn 3. And if any of these get left undefended, yoink, we can just jump on it. But we'll have to see how combat goes too, because we need to be flexible, right? The last 2 units that have to go are, and in this case, the Dank Elves say, well, you're not the only ones. There's 1. And then we can move another 2 inches to here. We'll bring that cold one rider around. We can bring our battle master up into action. And I wonder, do we bring him over to defend this flank? That might be the smart play here. Puts him a little bit out of position, but we've got now 2 units we need to defend against. Well, actually 3 over here. And then the last to go will be this cold one rider right here. And why don't we try to chase down their leader? There's 6 inches, and there's the other 2 because he is fast, and that will end turn number 1. And as we do, I replace the victory markers with colored gems. Yellow for the stupid rat creatures, and purple for the Dank Elves. Those will stay secured unless your enemy gets a unit close to it, in which case it may revert back to unsecured, or if you haven't defended it, it may flip. That's the end of turn number 1. On turn number 2, and we'll start with the Storm Ogre, who will be able to charge into combat against this nearest cold one. He is terrifying, and we want to jump on the cold ones before they jump on us to negate their Devour and their Impact and their Lance and all of that. The Storm Ogre has a quality 3. He's got 1 attack at AP 4. It is deadly 3. So 1 attack looking for a 3 or better, and we get a 3. So that will be a successful hit. With AP 4, the Raptor Knight has a quality of 3. He is going to make a defense roll, and he's going to get a total of 9. Well, he's got, no, I'm sorry, that is a successful defense, isn't it? Except that he's got deadly 3, which, if I understand correctly, means that's 3 wounds that all need to be saved. We get a total of 2 wounds on that figure. So we place 2 wound markers down, and we roll a single die to find out what happened. We're going to add 2 to this roll, and if we get a 6 or higher, that cold one is knocked out. So with a result of a 7, Mr. Rat Ogre has dealt the first deadly blow to the enemy. Now, he will be fatigued for the rest of the turn. So maybe I'll put this down to remind myself that if he counterattacks, or if he attacks again this turn, he's only hitting on 6s. And I don't know what happens next. Mr. Rat Ogre gets to make a 1.5 inch consolidation move. As you can see, he is 1.5 inches away from this Dank Lord. Can he charge and fight a second round of combat in this turn? Or is he forced to move into contact and do nothing? Is he unable to move into contact? Let's try a little experiment. A short time later, a day has gone by. I asked the internet how to resolve this, and I got the usual answer: you guys have to stop saying this. A lot of people said just do whatever you want. What I want is to play 1-page rules fantasy skirmish. That means playing the game as described in the rules. I'm asking you a rules question. When you say it doesn't matter, that's rude. Now, you might couch it in friendly terms. You can do what you want. First of all, I don't need your permission to do what I want. What I want, I already told you what I want, and you telling me don't do that thing is not helpful. Stop it. There were a number, and I'm encouraged by the fact there's probably about a 3-to-1 ratio of people pointing out the answer to this conundrum is you cannot move any closer than 1 inch, half an inch for me, to an enemy figure unless you're charging. A consolidation move is not a charge, so we have to stop within a half an inch. I'm going to go ahead, and this blue chip, by the way, marks fatigue. It helps me remember this old boy only hits on 6s when he attacks for the rest of the turn. We are now challenging for this victory marker. If he survives for this turn, then we'll flip this from a point to the Dank Elves to contested. Maybe enough. It is the Dank Elves' turn, and we could use this knight right now, but since old man Rat Ogre ain't going nowhere, we don't have to. We can save this for a little bit later. That leaves just one course of action for this Raptor Knight. He's got to worry about these spear rats contacting him. He loses all of his heavy hitting ability. He will, of course, charge the Rat Ogre. Before we do this combat, I need to point something out to you guys. I thought that I had a musician and a banner. I did not. I only have a banner. Didn't have enough points for the musician. So I pulled the musician from this unit, replaced it with a spearman, and then thought, well, wait a minute. If we have a banner, we want that in the center of the table. So really, I moved the banner over, pulled the musician from this spear unit, and that way, everybody in this area, these 3 nearest units, the leader, the Raptor Knight, and these spear guys, all get the morale bonus for having the banner. Is that a little cheap this late in the game? Well, I don't know. I corrected one mistake and then maybe compounded it with another, but we'll just let it go. At any rate, complain down in the comments if you don't like it. We need to do this combat. And that Raptor Knight has a couple of things going for him. He is... what has he got? He's got impact. So he gets to roll 1 die. And on a 2+, the target takes a hit. So he gets 1 hit for the impact. He also has Furious, which means when charging, unmodified roll... Wait, is that right? Let me just double check here. He has Devour, rather. Whenever this model attacks in melee, roll a die. On a 6-up, the opponent takes a wound. All right, so no Devour. Our mount did not get the chomp attack. Then we have the lance, which gets an AP +2. This will hit on a 3 up. And with a 5, that's successful. The rat ogre normally defends, or the storm ogre normally defends on a 3 up. AP2 for the charge means we're looking for a 5 up. He fails. That is a total of 2 hits on Mr. Storm Ogre. He does have tough 3, so we're going to drop 2 wounds on him, and Mr. Raptor Knight is going to have to fall back 1 inch. And then he has to deal with these guys offering to put paid. The spearmint rats are within 6 inches. They will close to melee, and they will get the first attack. Now, they're not great. They have a quality of 5. So they're hitting on 5s. They get 3 attacks because of the 3 figures. We'll call that a 4. They get the 1 hit. And the Raptor Knight is got a defensive 4. Let me just double check. Does the spears, all they have is counter. And yeah, that doesn't do them any good when they charge. As I said, the Raptor Knight will be defending on a 4 or better. And he gets a 5. So he defends, and he gets to counterattack on a 6. He does not hit with the counterattack. However, note that Devour means whenever this model attacks in melee, roll a die. So we have another 6-up shot to deliver a wound. And with a result of a 5, we fail. So these 3 spear rats are going to fall back 1 inch. And look at that. And so he's successfully defended against that attack, but it is the Dark Elves' turn. And now the Dark Elves have a choice. Do they want to get their leader involved, or do they want to move up and seize more ground over here? And I think we want to find out what's going to... I think we want to take out this Storm Ogre. Oh, wait a minute. I put the 2 wounds on the wrong guy, didn't I? We'll do that again. Storm Ogre gets 2 wounds. 1 more wound is all it's going to take. Now we have 3 spell points for this Dark Elf champion. And he can target 2 units within 9 inches. Well, within 4.5 inches, which looks a little something like this. It only costs 1 point. He can use his other 2 points to juice the spell, and now he's successful on a... He's going to do it. So he's using all his spell points. He gets a 6. He didn't have to. He actually gets an 8. That does 1 hit to each of the 2 units. And I don't think they get to take a defensive save on that. 2 enemy units within 9 inches each take 1 hit. So we remove one of our rat creatures over here. These Dark Warriors, these guys do have a banner. This little thing with the skull on it, that's our banner. So they will get within, let's see, they get +1 to morale test rolls, but we don't have any morale tests to take yet. This guy takes his 3rd wound, and that means he needs to start rolling to see what happens. We'll make his morale check is a 3 + 3 is a 6, but because he is tough 3, he is only knocked down on rolls of 8 or better. Blink! But he is shaken, hence the yellow chip, and he no longer counts as contesting this point. Although I think these 2 guys that are left, we'll actually take the guy off that side to keep them kind of close to each other. And then the Rat Boys get to go. The only unit they have left is right over here. That's this unit here, which will go ahead and seize the high ground right here. Ooh, maybe they want to stay 6 inches away. Maybe they're happy with where they're at. I don't think they are. I think we're going to go ahead and move up like this. We'll put them here to put a choke point for these guys, because now the Dark Elves have some choices to make. They actually get to make a total of 3 different moves, and I'm going to start with the left flank, where things get a little more complicated. That's not true. I'm going to go ahead and pull... This Raptor Knight is going to threaten over here, trying to stay 6 inches away from the leader of the rat guys. Now he has to commit. If he wants to come fight over this, all he can do is move 3 inches. He's too far away. But we're going to do something a little odd. Ooh, he's really exposed here, isn't he? The other thing we could do, I got a better idea. Are we close enough? Look at that. We're just a little bit too far away to be able to impact this Raptor Knight. We're a 1/2 inch shy. So we want to stay 8 inches away so that Raptor Knight can't charge us. Boy, this really puts him in quite the conundrum, and he doesn't have any spell abilities that he can use. I think maybe he's at risk of being charged. I think maybe we just go ahead and move up to right here. That will give us maximum flexibility. And this, because now, well, if we put him, that's as close as he can get, and he can at least challenge for this. So this scout will then use his movement to back away and say, you know, I don't really want to fight you if I can help it, but I do want to maintain some control over that. And that means the last activation will be these spear boys moving right up to here to support their buddies over on the flank. Now, they're not going to contact. We're going to wait until next turn. We're going to tease these, what are they called? All these weird names. Monks. These monks with the heavy flails, quality 5, defense 5, but they are furious. When charging, 6s deal an extra hit. Maybe we do want to hit those guys. Yeah, let's go ahead and take the... We don't want to deal with that extra hit. These monks also have something else going for them, don't they? No, Furious is all they got. So we want to hit them. We don't want to give them a chance to use their special ability. We're only hitting on quality... Oh, this is not a great fight for us. We're hitting on 5s at least. So we'll roll for the Dank Elves. Is this not good for us? The Dank Elves are hitting on... They're just warriors. Quality 4. They're going to do 1 hit. And the guys they're hitting have a defense of 5. And they'll successfully defend. Now the monks will attack with quality 5. Ooh, that ain't nothing. They're going to score a total of 3 hits on warriors who only have a defense of 5. And they make 1 successful defense. That means these 2 spear guys are going to go away. And the Bannerman has to fall back. Now, he is still alive. He doesn't have to make any of his defensive rolls. And that ends the turn. We move on to turn... Well, we check for contesting. The only contested... Oh, wait a minute. These guys are more than a half an inch away. They're 1 3/4 inches. The Rat Ogre doesn't count. This stays in the possession of the Dark Elves. But because the Dark Elves finished first, the Rats get to go first this time. And the Rat leader will pull a rabbit out of his hat. He's going to rush over and hammer this Raptor Knight. He gets 3 attacks. He is a hero after all. And these are AP1. He is hitting on 4s. He gets a total of 2 hits. The Raptor Knight normally defends on 5s. He's only defending on 6s because of the AP1. He fails both of those. This Raptor Knight will take 2 hits. He's got 2 wounds, which means we roll for his wound status. And with it, let me re-roll that because it's cocked. With a result of a 6, he's going to be knocked out. Boy, these Raptor Knights are a lot more fragile than I thought. Then we're going to move 1.5 inches to solidly contest for the victory objective. The Dank Elves get to go, but that does put the Rat Leader at risk of getting contacted by the Dark Elf Champion, who says, you know, I could hit you with 3 attacks, or I could hit you with that Blade Storm. In fact, I could hit both of you guys with the Blade Storm. So why don't we do that? We're going to drop another spell. Rolling to see if we're successful. We get another. We used both points, so that's all 3. So each of these guys takes 1 hit. And that may only soften up this leader, who has toughness 3, but it does force this Rat Ogre to take another wound check, at this time at +4. With a result of a 6, he remains shaken. I think that was worth a shot. The Rat Ogre gets to go and says, you know, I'm just going to go ahead and remove my shaken marker. Oh, we probably should have made him do that first. That might have been a mistake. And now the Dark Elves say, you know what? Since you guys are a little tied up, let me circle around here. I'm going to go ahead and bring Do we bring the Raptor Knight around? These guys are fast. Why don't we bring the Scout over here? Has stealth. Oh, he can only move 3 inches, right? So what does stealth do? Enemies get -1 when you're shooting. I thought he ignored. I thought he had Strider. He does not. So that being the case, we can get to 1.5 inches away. We're going to move over to about here, to where we're still close enough to this thing. And that's it. Because we got to wait for these, see what these rat hordes do. We have to pull back and take a look at the board state. The rats are about to seize this. This is going to go yellow. Taking a look at the board state. The rats are going to seize this point, and they're going to be up 3-0. The question is, how do they hang on to this, or maybe contest for this one? With 4 units here, I don't know that the rats are going to be able to challenge for that one. So the question is, do we bring these rat hordes, the giant rats, over here to assist with flooding the zone, or do we bring them up here to threaten this area? Since they can move 8 inches, and things are secure over here, if we bring them up to there, and then we'll bring them 2 more inches to here, these rats do have Strider, so they are now safe from being contacted by either this Dark Elf or the Dark Elf Scout. That's going to force the Dark Elves to maintain somebody over here, maybe even get in the way of the rats to defend this point. I think that's about the best we can do. And given that that's the case, the Dark Elves will then counter by moving to get close enough on this turn, right there. He doesn't have to worry about being charged by anybody. So now at the end of the turn, this point will flip purple. And so we're just trading objectives, trying to set things up for that all-important 4th turn. Before we turn our attention to the left side of the table, these spear rats are going to move over to here. They can get just to the edge of the rough terrain. They can't enter it, but they will be able to get close enough to challenge for this marker right there. They are dangerously exposed to a bunch of different units, but that might draw off some aggro, which will allow their boss to at least contest or maybe reclaim that point there on the next turn. So now we're ready to look at this left-hand side of the table. And we don't want these monks to charge. We're going to move into base contact. We only get to 1 attack, but this may be critical. Our Bannerman is going to hit on a 4-up. So 1 hit leads to, with a result of a 5, the Ratmen warriors have a defensive 5, and nothing happens. And so he has to fall back now. That was the best he could do. The monks say, I'm going to wait because my next plan is to charge you. Now, unfortunately for the monks here, that charge is going up against a guy with counter. And counter means that the Bannerman gets the first attack when charged. And they're -1 total impact per rolls. So first thing we do is do his attack. With a 1, he misses. Now, normally these monks have Furious, which is not impact. That doesn't, okay. When charging, 6s deal an extra hit. So they get 3 attacks. Looking for 6s, they get none. But they got 1 hit with a quality 5. And the Dank Elf has a defense of 5. And he successfully makes his roll. So the lone warrior pushes him back. And that's going to pay big dividends for the next turn, where these elves say, we're just going to hold. And these rats say, I think we're going to hold too. Neither of these units wants to charge the other. Because if you charge, you get attacked first. So both hold. They're both fine. That's the end of turn number 3. We now turn our attention to victory points. Or objective markers, I should say. And all we're going to do is trade these 2. The Dark Elves still hold a 3-2 advantage, but I don't know how long they can hold it. The rats get to go first. And the first thing they're going to do is move up to here and challenge for this victory objective marker. Moving there, they can move 3 inches. They're safe from him. He's not going to be able to charge them in there. We'll save the scout, who has to hope, and I don't think the scout can drive them off. I think ultimately what will happen is the scout will move into there, but I'm getting a little ahead of myself. The leader over here says, I gotta, what is he going to do? He can move to contest. He moves to within 1 inch of each of these guys. And now this is contested. He's going to blast away again. He needs that, what did we say it was? Oh, he gets a 3. You need a 4 up. So he tried to do 1 damage to each of these guys, and he failed. Storm Ogre charges. He only has 1 attack, but it's deadly 3. And he hits with a result of a 6. Deadly 3 means his target takes 3 wounds. Is that right? Multiply it by 3. Yep. They must be resolved first. He's got AP 1, meaning the Dark Elf champion only defends on a 6. And we get a 2, 2, and a 4. 2, 4, and a 2, which means the big boy is going to have to make his defense roll. He gets a 4. He's merely shaken. Storm Ogre has to back off 1 inch. This is no longer contested. So what do we do with the leader here? He's gonna get all clever. He's gonna move up to right here and say, what are you gonna do? And the reason he's doing that is he's taunting these giant rats and this raptor knight. Things get really interesting here because the rats control this objective marker. The Raptor Knight can charge here, but then these rats will come take this point. So he's trying to bait him. We do have a scout over here that can come over and take that point as well. It's a real chess match, this one. And the rats say, you know what? I think we can end this by focusing our efforts over here. We will charge. We'll take the hit from that Bannerman. The Bannerman misses. They say, I know we are at, let's see, Ratmen Warriors, quality 5, 1, 2, and 4. Nothing doing. They really needed to get a couple of 6s because they could have consolidated their move to challenge for this point over here. Now they're stuck. Everybody over here has attacked. And this is going to be a wash. I'm comfortable. I'll hold. I'm comfortable. I'll hold. I'll hold. Let's see. So elves, rats, elves. And it all comes down to this side of the table, where the elves have to commit first. This Strider comes over here and says, haha, I'm contesting. Then these rats get to go. Nope, Strider's not going to do that. I tell you what's going to happen. Raptor Knight's going to charge over here because we want to impact these giant rat swarms. And there's a reason for that. We will take the impact 1, which does no good. We've got Devour looking for a 6. Does no good. Wait, impact 1. Roll X dice for each 2+. The target takes a hit, and we miss. And then we'll try to hit one more time, and he's going to whiff on all 3 of those. Oh, this might have been a mistake. These Raptor Knights, man. How much do they cost? They're 25 points? Yeah, they're pretty terrible. I got to stop using these guys. But the figures look so good. The giant rats say, you know what? Yeah, why don't you back off? Or do they want to attack him now? Let's go ahead and attack him now. Let's just get this resolved. The giant rats are quality 5. They're going to score a single hit on him. That single hit will be defended, and he's going to have to back off 1 inch. And now the giant rats can say, well, we'll come over here and we'll contest. Oh, because they haven't gone yet. They can contest for this point. They'll move over to here, and they'll be close enough to contest. And then that means, so what I was thinking was, if the Raptor Knight could have gotten in the way, this guy could have run over and seized this point, even if the Raptor Knight had won. But as it is, we'll move this scout over to here, and I can shed a little more light on that situation. So this scout will contest for this one. He doesn't have to fight. He just needs to get within 1.5 inches. And these spearmen were just a little too far away with their movement to be able to box him out. That's going to be the last activation for the game. And now we have to go look at who controls what. The rats maintain control of this one. The dark elves this one. The rats maintain control here because this leader is shaken. He can't exert any control over that. This is contested, so we'll pick it up. This is contested, we'll pick it up. And would you look at that? Because these Raptor Knights folded so quickly, the final score is 2 to the rats to 1 to the Dank Elves. Bit of an upset if you ask me, right? Remember the rats? Or maybe it's just that giving the rats the opportunity to select where they come on and getting that first activation made all the difference in the world. I think the rats, like this ogre sticking around and rolling a couple of bad rolls on those Raptor Knights wound status, what can you do? What can men do in the face of such fate? Kind of a fun game. A lot of thinking going on here. A lot of movement, a lot of motion, a lot of tough decisions. This is a fascinating game. I don't know why more people aren't playing it. Well, maybe they will after seeing this video. And maybe after seeing this video, we'll finally put paid to that. You can do what you want. I know I can do what I want. Heck, I could have this rat ogre decide, oh, Miss Darcy, why have you not asked me to the prom? And then Miss Darcy says, why, because I've already asked, Marie to the prom. Why, I could, but if I did that, right? If I started playing like my daughters play with their littlest pet shops, I would lose most of my audience because I wouldn't be miniature wargaming. Not all of my audience. Some of you guys would stick around. You guys are the real ones. You guys are the best. You're my favorites. But justifiably, a lot of people would say, look, I don't tune in to watch anything. I tune in to watch miniature wargaming. So just don't tell people they can do what they want. They don't need your permission. What you should tell them is, if you want to play this game, here's what the rules are. That's what we're doing here. Be supportive. Answer the questions that are asked. And don't tell people that are asking for help, just don't play the game. It's really that simple. Hey guys, until next time, I'm praying for you.